Amanda Portier is here to talk about her story of recovery, and then after that we'll open to a podium to questions. Okay?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. I first just want to say that I'm so honored to be here, but I just was invited last evening and put this together at like 11 o'clock. So I know I have a couple tough acts to follow, but hopefully you'll find some value in what I have to say today. It is so surreal to be here. So let me get started. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share my story with you all today. A little more than 10 years ago, my dad picked me up from work in the South End. I was working at the South End Head Start at the time, and brought me here for my initial intake. He had figured out what was going on with me, and he did some research on his own, and he identified this place and determined that this would be a great facility for me to get some help. At the time, I was 23 years old, and I looked like I had everything together. I was fooling a lot of people. I had money. I was working. I had graduated from college a year prior from Salem State, got a social work degree. I was working in my field full-time. I was working part-time at the gym, probably not the best place I should have been at. And I had my own apartment, I had my own car, I was completely on my own. I had a very active social life and a lot of friends. However, I had a big secret. On the inside, I was broken. I hated myself. And I had a void that seemed could never be filled. I was struggling with bulimia, anorexia, and I was addicted to laxatives. I had 0 hunger cues, and I was physically and just mentally so sick. My disorder started as an interest in exercise and fitness that eventually became obsessive, and then it ended up controlling every aspect of my life. Then when that wasn't enough, I started gradually cutting out food groups slowly. And if I had cheated, that led to binging, completely giving in. And then I would, throw up the food, or I would take the laxatives. I avoided social situations with food, and the voice in my mind made me believe that I was not deserving of food. It was a vicious cycle that went on for years. You'll see some patterns in our stories, obviously. Prior to developing this disease, I had a big misunderstanding about people with eating disorders. I thought they were narcissistic and shallow. I thought that having an eating disorder was a choice made out of vanity and valuing what was on the outside more than what was on the inside. And I was never really like that. I was a go-getter, I was driven, I had goals, I was always planning ahead. The truth was that I later found out that I was driven by fear and anxiety. I grew up in a controlling home and stable home. And I had actually already been struggling since I was 6 years old with a hair-pulling disorder called trichotillomania. If any girls additionally suffer from that or struggle with that, I'm more than happy to speak with you after this, because it all kind of ties in with one another. As I got older, I saw education and hard work as my ticket to be free. Accomplishing goals was my way of feeling good about myself and that things were going to be okay. So when I came here, I was so embarrassed, I was ashamed, because I wanted to be an adult and I wanted to be free. And here I was, not even a year after graduating from college, I needed my parents. The reason why I stayed committed to this program and recovery is because I made a decision to live, and I made a decision to win. I refuse to live a life of dependency. There are 3 key factors that helped me manage my eating disorder and go on to thrive throughout these past 10 years. The most important thing that this program taught me is that God all made us a certain size. When we learn how to eat normally, our body naturally goes to our God-given size. That was very comforting for me. I was not thinking that way when I entered here, and I did eventually find that concept to be very true. Over time, my hunger cues came back, and I still follow the program till this day. I eat 3 balanced, proportionate meals every day and 3 snacks, and it's been excellent. The other thing that helped me, that I coincidentally discovered the law of cause and effect, or the law of attraction. I happened to catch an episode of Oprah around this time, and she had the cast of The Secret on her show. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this book, The Secret. Maybe not the younger ladies in the room. But it's an awesome book. It changed my mind completely because I discovered that I was actually not really fully a victim of my circumstances because I had the power and the ability to control my thoughts. I became more aware of my thoughts, and I began to visualize how I wanted my life to look like as a result of conquering this disease. And thirdly, I learned how to fact-check my thoughts by becoming more aware of self-sabotaging ones. See, when you have an eating disorder, you have an annoying, I know I don't have to tell you guys this, you have an annoying and persistent voice that will not let up. This voice is not based in truth, and it does not come from God. It's based in fear. And I learned how to determine that my thoughts, whether my thoughts were true or if they were lies. So I began to fact check. I now, and I still do this today, take a moment to think about sometimes, thoughts still definitely pop up for sure, but like the last lady had said, that they're not as strong because over the course of time, they know they can't win anymore. So it takes time for sure, but they still pop up sometimes, and I have the ability to fact check now and say, is this actually even true? And most of the time it's not. One year I entered this program, I was engaged, and I was pregnant with Gabriel, first child, Layla. I went back to school a couple years later. I got a master's certificate in human resources. And then our second child, Angelo, came along. My husband and I have purchased 4 homes together. We own 2 businesses now. I even helped my husband overcome a very serious immigration case as he faced deportation to his home country of El Salvador. I am proud to say that after a 5-year immigration process, he became a permanent resident last May, and we are pinching ourselves at how far we've come. I can't say that my life has been perfect since leaving here because that would be a lie. There's always gonna be hurdles and setbacks and things that happen outside of our control. My eating disorder will always be a part of me, but it no longer defines me. I can promise you this, that you can live a normal, fulfilling, adventurous, beautiful life, and this experience only builds character and confirms who you already are, which is a fighter, a survivor, and a winner. Life is about making decisions. I encourage you, if you are struggling, to make a decision to live. Your life is worth fighting for. And I'll end this with one of my favorite quotes by my favorite speaker, Jim Rohn, who's no longer here today. But I love his quote, and my company has been named after this quote. My company's name is Compass Career Directions. I help diverse job seekers achieve their career goals, and the foundation of my program is overcoming self-sabotaging and fearful thoughts that are preventing them from getting themselves ahead. But his quote is, "You can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight." Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.